Can't remember either. He's like a little.
Waiting room.
Okay,
So just touch here and I've got them right here.
Yeah.
So they're not up there.
and then they just go, how do I put them?
You can just go in the, let's see. Okay. We'll be able to do it right here.
Mr. Raymond? I'll put them in a waiting room before I turn you over to host. Then you won't have to worry about it.
You know, I told Matt, my son, when I found out Matt was not there, I told her, I said, you know, I should have to address.
I actually got to.
Back when she was.
No.
Not what I like. Back when she was. Her nickname, Mad Dog.
Please stand to the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag,
United States of America, to the republic, which stands one nation.
Public comment. The school board endorses the concept of community participation in affairs of the school is essential to improve the quality of education for its students. To be eligible to address the board, an individual should reside within the school unit, be an employee of the school unit, or be invited by the school board or superintendent to speak. The board shall give due attention to comments and contributions from the audience, but shall not be expected to respond or take action immediately. Audience inquiries other than simple questions shall be referred to the superintendent, who shall investigate or consider the matter and report to the citizens and to the board. If the board action is indicated, the item may be included in an agenda for subsequent meetings. Comments will be heard for no longer than 3 minutes per person. Is there any comments?
Can I just ask, are we recording?
No.
I don't see where it is and I don't know who has to.
Yes, it's recording.
Thank you,
Down
Pam.
in the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? See none, move on. Approval of minutes. I have someone,
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the school board meeting on December 3rd, 2024, barring no errors or omissions.
Second.
Outstanding.
Julie, you second.
Mhm.
Any discussion? Oh.
Pamela?
Pam.
Pamela,
Yes,
I'm just wondering if you can hear Donnie when he's speaking.
I can.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I'm not picking on you, it's just
No,
it's
no,
new.
you can say no.
Yeah.
Canva. She's probably lying.
She's not.
Just to cover me. All right, it was right. All right,
Payroll warrants, so you
Oh.
just turn the page. over.
payroll. There we
There's
go.
12 pages there, like, I'll do one with you.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I move to direct the superintendent of schools to authorize payment by the town treasurer, these parties listed herein, and some said against each name today's school payroll warrant 25-12-2 in the amount of $447.29, and PR 25-12D-2 in the amount of $109.25 on December 5th, 2024. PR 25-13, the amount of $139,212.94. PR 25-13D in the amount of $74,082.74. Main PERS 25-14, the amount of $8,689.41. Main PERS 25-15 in the amount of $38,547.42. And main PERS 25-16 in the amount of $229.21 on December 19th, 2024. PR 25-14 in the amount of $130,677.11. PR 25-14D in the amount of $70,928.70. And PR 25-14D-2 in the amount of $1,772.28 on January 2nd, 2025. And PR 25-15 in the amount of $130,062.69. PR 25-15D in the amount of $71,334.08. Main PERS 25-17 in the amount of $229.21. Main PERS 25-18 in the amount of $230.29. Main PERS 25-19 in the amount of $311.42. And main PERS 25-20 in the amount of $275.42 on January 16th, 2025.
Second. Want to note for the record that I signed all these payroll warrants while you were reading that one over.
Why did you ask me to repeat it?
I know.
Yeah, I'll do that.
We need to, like discussion.
Okay. I'll do this. It was moved to direct, I'd like to make a motion to direct the superintendent of schools to authorize payment by the town treasurer to each party listed herein, the sum set against each name contained in the school payable warrant AP 25-19 in the amount of $24,139.77. AP 25-20 in the amount of $115,606.06, and SA 25-12 in the amount of $4,851.46, and that's student accounts on December 19th, 2024. AP 25-21 the amount of $93,668.65, and SA 25-13 the amount of $3,221.67. Student accounts on January 2nd, 2025, AP 25-22 in the amount of $24,487.01. AP 25-23 in the amount of $70,839.98. SA 25-14 in the amount of $12,197.18. Student accounts. SA 25-15 in the amount of $8,500 student accounts, and SA 25-16 in the amount of 18,000 student accounts on January 16th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Okay. Motion to see if the board will approve the first reading of the following policies.
Motion, to see if the board will approve the first reading of the following new policies: EI, insurance program / risk management; GAB, job descriptions; GBGE-R, return to work and reasonable accommodations, administrative procedure.
Second.
First reading of revised policies. Need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept first reading.
Oh,
We need to back up.
we didn't vote. I had written down though. Let's have a vote on that. Oh, thank you. All right,
Okay,
let's try that again.
a motion to see if the board will approve the, first reading of the following revised policies. Staff involvement in decision-making, employee use of cell phones and other electronic communication devices, following coded as GEBEBC, GBEB, staff conduct with students, and GCG, substitute tutor pay.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to make some comments, please. So for the one that we just went through the first reading, a comment about that as well as for the revised policies now, and as well as what's coming up for the delete. So when we met, Kevin and Julie and I, we went through all of these policies. And so for all of them, I just want to remind everybody that we look at Maine School Management, who has an entire office down there. Charlotte Bates runs the office to make sure that schools are in line with policies. They answer questions, tell us what is required in the policy by law, and where we have something that we like wiggle room that may be something that particularly reflects the school that we're in. That said, with the policies that we're proposing to delete, while we're proposing they're deleted, it's because Maine School Management has put in other policies that they're saying are duplicate the policies that are coming next in the package. So these kind of do all run sequentially because we're asking you to accept these new policies, knowing that they're currently duplicating something that we already have in place. And also with the substitute pay and tutor pay, like we've done the last 2 years with Maine's minimum wage going up, we had to do a calculation to make sure that we were, our substitutes were at least making the minimum wage. So that's where that comes from. Julie or Kevin, I was gonna say.
Well, I was gonna make a comment that, when I got on the school board, I got this book, it's about, I swear it's 5 inches thick of policies. And I really, thought they could be slimmed down a bit. But after being on the policy committee, they can't be. A lot of them are just required. And, I just want you to know that when we do these policies, we read through them word by word. And if there's any options to edit anything, we discuss it and we take a group decision on it. And we really take it serious, these policies.
And we table policies too. If there's something that we want for information, we look for, it's kind of like taking a vote on every single policy, but sometimes it's contingent on finding additional information.
We reach out a lot to
We do.
the specialists within the school and the departments to see what's appropriate or what's, current, or if this makes sense. We do a lot of that. To piggyback on Kevin too, we receive the policies ahead of time to review, and we have, lovely Kama goes through and does all of our highlighting, all of our, what's going to be removed, what's going to be added, so that there's no confusion. And we really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Couldn't do it without you.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Shelley, are we having trouble getting substitutes?
Not now, don't fix us by asking though, because the last few years, we have really suffered not having enough. We have a great substitute pool on, I don't know if we do in custodians, we have one though, that'd be somebody we had last year. But in food service, we're good, and yeah, we're,
Good.
again, I'm not gonna jinx it, because we're doing okay.
Okay, motion to see if the board agrees to the deleted policies.
I'd like to make a motion, the board will approve the delete the following policies as recommended by the policy committee. GBAA harassment, sexual harassment of school employee, covered under current policy ACAB, and GBAA-R, employee discrimination and harassment complaint procedure, covered under current policy ACAB. It was just kind of like.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote. Adoption of revised policies. Motion on
Move to approve the adoption of the following revised policies. JICIA, weapons, violence, and school safety. JICK-E1 bullying report form, JICK-E2 bullying investigation response form, JICK-E3 bullying summary of disciplinary and remedial actions.
Second.
Discussion? Discussion? Oh. Okay.
I didn't hear you say. "Oh."
Whoa.
I thought you were like, whoa.
That's it.
We'll work on that. Thank you. Student representative report. We're not here either one.
Madison has a ball game. I'm not sure where Haley is tonight, but Madison has a ball game. So you can see that she did submit a report and that's right there in your paperwork. They're busy girls.
They are.
Good girls.
Rhonda, Mrs. Casey, you're there.
That's not how that goes.
Okay, so year-to-date expended is 36.8% used. Revenue loss is January 1st is 2,059,557. It's 24.07% collected across all funds so far. I have more to log in, but we've collected so far. Maine's new paid family medical leave deduction began January 1st. And all employees are affected. Employees are the 0.5% or the 0.5% of 1% deduction. The district picking up the other percent and stays on their gross pay. It affects basically all employees except for, so it's not considered stipend, which are like boards, not considered employees. District filled out an online survey distributed by the Maine School Superintendent Association to collect data regarding unfunded mandates from the state, and I filled that out. It was a great experience. If I didn't do before at all. Let's see. Some of the mandates we have coming is increasing the minimum teacher base salary to 50,000. It's an increment. It's legislation been put through. It's being worked through the state, and I'm not sure where it is in the process. The Maine paid family medical leave. The hourly wage increases for ed techs at a 125 above minimum wage started. July 1st for districts, 115% above minimum wage is for support staff. Anticipated cost to the district is approximately 21,000 right now, in addition to the minimum wage increased from 14.35 to 14.65 an hour ed techs. Ed tech sub ed. Yeah. And anticipated increased budget increases for staff leave time, substitutes, and wage increases for ed techs and supporting that. Budget talks have begun, as you guys know, and I've begun to draft the F-26 budget. And I've been deciding to enter those figures. And just have a lot ways to go. It's a long ways to go. I've got basically the salaries are plugged in, the fixed costs that we cannot change, which are the salaries, the main PERS, the billing they pay for medical leave, the Medicare costs, those kind of things. So it's a long process.
And we still have all your hair.
I do. I think I'm losing some of it. I feel like it's going away.
Anyone have any comments or questions? Thank you very much. Yes, sure.
Good. I back up and ask a question.
Yep.
With the new Social Security Fairness Act being passed, will all employees be getting deducted Social Security now too?
Actually, we weren't aware of that, but I'll have to look into it. I don't think, but main
No.
teachers aren't supposed to. Teachers are not supposed to pay social security.
Okay.
Students being served 4,021 breakfasts and 4,766 lunches in the month of December. Participation numbers are up 7.53% at breakfast and 7.98% at lunch, and that's an average between both the schools. Stearns is up significantly more than Granite, but together we're doing just fine. the HMI grant spending target set by Action to Help a Kid, which is the organization really facilitating all of the grant activities, is 50% by the end of January, and we're already at 81.31% of our grant being fulfilled. So we're doing okay there as well. Where the Street did receive your fancy new salad bar, finally. It took 5 months, but it's here. And a big thank you to Louis and Josh for getting that all puzzled and pieced together. It is beautiful, shiny, fantastic. Allows us to keep a few more cases of fresh fruits and veggies on hand, so we can really limit how much we're going back and forth between the two schools, because we have a big walk in here that we, has all of our surplus goods in, so we don't have to do that as much. Upcoming over February vacation, our entire food service staff will be going to Augusta. Well, you can have them. So
You're finding chaperones.
you should probably find some chaperone, of course, right? To do full day training with the MDOE and the Culinary Institute of Child Nutrition. To do the hands-on kitchen skills and really learn about some service line strategies to really appealing to the student body, efficiency. It'll be a great team building activity, and you can never really have too much training in certain areas. And that's being covered by the HMI grant for training. So that's about it for me. Any questions?
All right, Dr. Wood. Congratulations.
It seems like there hasn't been a ton of time, like student time, but there was a lot behind the scenes that has been going on. One of the biggest things is last week, we had our occupational therapist that had resigned. So last week we had our interviews, so hopefully we'll have somebody that will be coming on staff soon to do that. Two very amazing candidates in the running for it. So, and we did, the schedule at the bottom is what Shelley and I have kind of mapped out, like the upcoming of when I'll be doing just special ed staff, and then when I'll actually be doing more for all gen ed staff. So we'll be doing some executive functioning skills. I did it with my special education staff already. So I'll be doing that with everyone else. And then in the morning, there's been quite a few DOE trainings. There's on the dangerous student one that I've gone to, and it was a whole day training in Augusta or in Bangor. That one was Bangor. And then there's 2 3-hour follow-up sessions on how to do functional behavior assessments, how to do behavior plans, and it's in conjunction with school administrators. So it was our special ed main group, as well as the principals, the main principal association group that could be involved in that. So it's really determining what to do if we have any, which was a board policy that you've kind of looked at, that dangerous student one that was new. And we've also been doing quite a bit. Yesterday, I think it was, there was a whole workshop that I did on specific learning disabilities and what the difference is between when should other supports like general education supports be doing it, and that multi-tier system of support structures, when does special ed come in, and all of that. So all of that will then be kind of getting pushed out to staff. One of the other thing that I wanted to outline, the last one, is that in, I think it was July, Rhonda and I first met, and we kind of like moved like between what's in district funds, what's in grant funds, looking what we had from carryover from funds that weren't spent in previous years. So we met again over break and moved some more funds over. So trying to make sure that we can have as much of the grant funds used and then have more tied up, I would say, in that area than having it in the local budget. So to bring our local budget down and then putting it over in the other funds too. So we've done quite a bit of work on that and shifting everything around and moving account lines and things. So anyway, so that's where we are budget wise with us.
Questions, comments?
Dan, is the 504, is it 31 or is it 33?
Oh, it changed after, so we were looking
33.
at it, yes, yeah, it should be 33, thank you for noticing that. We were trying to, what we have found out, and this is another thing that I've been working on as far as finances, is our new online platform, that is called Acuity. What had happened is when they piloted it a couple years ago, it brought all of those students in. So we were then, I'm like, the numbers were off when I went to do everything. And so Michelle, and I have been working very hard at making sure that anybody that isn't currently active, we've made inactive to then make sure we're not getting billed, because you get billed per student, for how many. So we've been really trying to make sure that we're aligning all of that with students when they move in, or if they transition from a 504 to an IEP or an IEP to a 504, we make them inactive in one system and in the other. So we've been working that out, and some of the numbers were off, and so that's when I forgot to change the top one. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Jim. And, here, but we have his report. Mr. Federico.
Don't have anything new or noteworthy. We're still plugging away on all the things that I told you about previous to, and will be for the next few months. We are a bit ahead of the curve on fuel this year, so pray the temperatures stay high, although next week doesn't look so good, but doing well in that respect.
Win some and lose some.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone, any questions for?
Is it easier to keep the parking lots cleaned up and have it there smooth?
Oh, much,
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
wear
it's a-
tear
it's
on
a
the
help.
vehicles, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Big difference.
Thank you. Joanne Mary?
Exciting things happening at Granite. We have two Stern students who will now be joining us in our pre-K program through the early childhood program that they're taking through Region 3. So they'll be starting in February. We also have Officer Edison, who has gone and got DARE training, has started working with our fourth graders. He had his first lesson last week, and he'll be having, I think it's 10 lessons altogether. Then we'll do some kind of a graduation celebration. The fifth graders shared facts about President Carter during the morning announcements and did activities with the pre-K students about the president. And each class watched various videos about President Carter on the day of his morning. And this pictures on Facebook and on our website. So a lot of time. We're looking into fundraising programs, fundraising ways to raise money for field day, author visits, guest speakers, those kinds of things, so that we can start doing that kind of stuff. Now COVID's kind of out of the way, we can get back into doing things. And since I wrote this report, I found out yesterday that we had put in for a literacy grant through the MDOE for $5,000, and we have been approved for that. So there's a group of 4 of us who will be doing some ongoing training through the MDOE in order to get the funding. Haven't been clear yet. I'm still getting things every day about what we can use that funding for. Any questions?
Just wanted to comment, it was nice to see that their program was bad at school. I remember when I was at Granite, and I just thought it was a good program. It wasn't just drugs, it's bullying, and a lot of things kids are dealing with today. I read that, I was happy to see it was great.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think it's very deceiving, because it has changed a lot. And so it isn't so much the drugs that's part of it, but it is bullying, it's about good decision making, it's about dealing with consequences. So it's more well-rounded than it used to be.
Thank you.
Speak just a second on this. At our district Edmonton meeting this morning, I asked the folks who were not going to be here if there was anything particular they wanted me to highlight. And Nick wanted to highlight that, where we just got off in, Christmas break, there's been students come back who have been away to college or to work, and they've been, he's been asking them, or they've been asking in the office for them to take a survey. So the survey is based on like, how did their experience here at Stearns? You know, how is it an asset? How did it work for you with the college courses or the path that you're on now? And so they're beginning to collect some data, which we hope we can use to kind of meticulously, kind of in a forensic type way, look at what we're providing students to make sure that what we're providing for them is what they indeed need for what they're choosing next. So he was pretty excited that some data was started to be collected with that. So more on that as we get more information.
And Beth Phoebe, did you have anything from her?
Yep, Beth wanted me to mention that Gear Up is working very well. There's a new representative that is working with us. It is a supplemental program, not a supplant program. But they're looking at things like Naviance, which was through the Melnet grant, and looking to see if maybe that would fit in with some of the funding that they have to cover. She said that they're rolling out a lot of information right now, and she's been pretty pleased with that. Also, the Workforce Opportunity in Rural Communities Grant, which we were recently awarded, we've discussed that a couple times before. A posting went out to get a coordinator today, so our money is, Rhonda and I attended the meeting last week, I guess this is Tuesday, so last week. So they've got their procedures in play for how we get reimbursement or how, you know, the money's gonna be funneled through. And this has potential to be truly changing for our students because it can be gas in their car that takes them to an experience. It can be up to 15 hours or work in an area. So it's like kind of on the job training. And so those things are completely new in this grant, and we are young in the grant, but there are other districts who have been doing this. So we're going to be able to reach out to them and say, so what were some roadblocks, or how did you get around this, or how did you manage that? So we're right on the cusp of that, getting started for some of our kids.
All right. Move right on to the superintendent's report.
All right, I've just got a couple of things. I wanted to mention that with the new president that is going to be in play really soon, next week, there's been a lot of talk about abolishing the United States Department of Education. And there's things that I'm reading are set out to kind of like squelch fear. Like a lot of the funding and a lot of the programs that we experience in public education don't really even go through the U.S. Department of Education. The U.S. Department of Education is not an old institution, and a lot of the money that came to public education actually went through other systems. So even if there is some type of substantial change in the U.S. Department of Education, things like Title I and IDEA are likely not going anywhere. In general, we're being advised to not be fearful of that. Yes, there might be change, but it isn't anything that will probably make a big funding difference to any of us. So I just wanted to say that if you hadn't heard that. People have mentioned already the budget work that is going on. I just wanted to say that I have created a timeline and discussed that with the town to make sure that our timeline lines up with theirs, because as you know, there's a lot of regulations on when the public votes and then like how much time there is between when the board votes or the council votes and public presentations. So we've backed ourselves up from the June primary and are clearly working on that so that we can meet those timelines. I spoke with Denise Towers yesterday from the Maine DOE to find out if the 279s had been published yet. That's the vehicle that tells us how much we're getting for subsidy, and it has not been published yet. I didn't put this in my report, but if you watch the news, you know that there's a new biennial out there. It's more money than the last one was, and well, the last one's not funded. So I don't know if that has anything to do with why the 279s are not out. Normally they're out by now. We cannot prepare our budget until we have the 279. So we're doing all the work around that and waiting for it. There's another shared services meeting on January 22nd, next Wednesday. Our goal is to provide additional programs for our students to identify efficiencies that would benefit our systems, East Millinocket, Medway, and us. Ideas are welcome, and we actually are putting on an advertisement. If it didn't go up today, it will go up tomorrow for gifted and talented / enrichment, which we'll share between our systems. So getting a little bit of movement there for our kids. I attended the Governor's Commission on School Construction recently. And I know I had mentioned this, I think it was as recent as last month, that the inquiries and the need for money to support school construction is outpacing the amount of money that they have aligned and available for construction. That is forcing them to take a different look at how they're funding schools. There's a lot of conversation, Louis, you'd be interested in this, around what happens if you have good schools that have an older age on them, but they've been meticulously maintained. Some districts are getting a lot of money to build new, and they haven't put money into keeping them nice. That hurts schools like us, who have had somebody like a Louis in team to keep things going well. And so they're looking at the inequities between those who have let things go and those who are getting all of the new money. Part of the conversation that I was part of is making suggestions like, give us smaller dollar amounts. I don't want $50 million to build a new school, but maybe I take 500,000 and let me get some new windows. Maybe give me 250,000 to get some new doors. You know, like, so we're throwing, those of us in rural education and older schools are throwing out some of the ideas of put some money for us so that it's not an all or nothing. We don't necessarily want an all new. Of course, we'd take a new if it was offered, but you know, just saying I think it's great that the conversation is happening and that they're actually noting the fact that the need is outpacing what there is. So they've got to do something else. So that, I thought that was kind of noteworthy. You may have noticed, that we had an agreement signing for what we're calling a sister relationship with #1 middle school in China and us. It was in the newspaper. I think Kyle Leathers and Mr. Brown, Chelsea and Miss Peavy for joining us on that day. And we're hoping that that can turn into some type of bridge, even for information or for cultural exchange between them and us. The grants have already been mentioned. The regional calendar, it's that time again. So the district's team has put together some ideas on what we're thinking about for a calendar. Everybody loved 2 weeks off this year. If you look at the calendar, there won't be an opportunity for that for a while. Maybe that'll happen again next year. Otherwise, the possibility is maybe go to school on Monday and then have Tuesday and the next bit off. But it's only going to happen one more year, so we'll see. Our school is 1 vote of 5, so we'll do our best to pitch what we can. Back for Jared, he had kind of mentioned something in here for security, but not everybody has heard it. Power School experienced a data breach, and the platform of Power School is used across the country. It is a major system. They have been in communication with our school and said that our information was not part of the data breach. They ask us to make sure that we're looking at it, just to continue to make sure that our data is good. But as far as what they know, our data is fine. And Jared is all over it. He's looking into our systems. We had some, I don't know if they're called firewalls or security things in place already. So just wanted you to know that he is working on that. And I guess that's it.
Well, any questions for Dr. Lane? No comments? All right. Well, we're gonna go into executive session now, so I need a motion to enter into executive session.
Move to enter an executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA subset 4056D, include Jan Unit 2 for the veteran.
I'm not the only one that has-
Dr. Jan.
That's easier.
Mr. Raymond, I'll put everybody into the waiting room and I'll pause the recording. So when you go back into session, just make sure you put the recording back on and let anybody back in who's still there. Thank you.
That's all I'm calling. I can't recording now.
Is it a new one? So do we get rid of this stuff?
Don't hit the X right there.
I'm like, I mean, that's what it seems like to me. Like, how do you say Jan's last name? Is it New Rider? New Rider.
I made it on my own.
I didn't do it again.
I'll do it.
Okay, so you bring us back.
Okay.
We broke out.
Results of the executive session, someone give me a motion on that?
Make a motion to hire Jan Reiser as the Todd Region Special Ed Director, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028, according to the terms of the memorandum of understanding of East Monmouth and the Medway Department salary and benefits as negotiated.
Second?
Is that you, Rich?
Yes.
Any discussion? Already.
One thing I should have asked during the meeting. East and Medway both did it for 3 years, so, okay.
Yep.
One thing I forgot to ask.
Yep, no, we've got everything all signed.
Okay.
We're purposely last because it just didn't work unless we all did the same. Good question.
Any other questions or comments? All right, let's vote. 5 yes. Motion to approve Joanne Mary.
Motion to approve Joanna Mary as the pre-K through 5 principal, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028, salary and benefits as negotiated.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Motion to approve Ron Casey.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Ron Casey as business manager, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028, salary and benefits as negotiated.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
No.
Five all. All right, I need a motion to approve central office administration.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Central Office Administrative Assistant Cameron Mission salary hourly rate of $27.68 for the 2025-26 school year. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, vote. Five all. Vote to approve official report.
To approve special bank clerk, Cameron Mitchell stipend for 2025-2026 at $10,200.
Second.
Julie. Any discussion? Seeing none, vote. Five all. Motion to approve special ed secretary.
Make a motion to approve special ed secretary Michelle Rodriguez hourly rate of $24.70 for the 2025-2026 school year.
I second that.
Any discussion? On seeing, vote. Five all.
And I can see that there is a mistake in the paperwork here. So I'd like to make a motion to see if the board would enter into executive session 1 MSRA 5046F, information and confidential records.
Second.
Chime in.
We have
548.
558. And then, yes, we have to discuss that.
Your granddaughter.
Okay, we're recording.
Recording?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Will she be going over to this next year? Or is it-
The meeting.
Upcoming meetings, February 11th, 2025, March 11th, 2025, April 8th, 2025. 2025, May 6, 2025, and June 3rd, 2025. Motion to adjourn? Oh. Second?
Second.
Just
get me out of here. I'm
I'll have a hot dog. Watch some basketball.
Oh, 8:08. Thank you, everybody. Kevin, thank you
To answer
for
your question.
that rundown. Appreciate it.
Just once.